Okay, I'd like to extend a really warm welcome to you all to today's information session on LSE Summer School 2022. My name is Rob Iggleston. I work as Summer School's University Relationships Manager, and I'm really pleased to be able to introduce you today to the programme. It's also great that you'll be hearing from Professor Wim A. van der Steed, who is a Professor of Accounting and Financial Management at LSE, Head of Department of Accounting, and also Summer School's Academic Director. Shortly, Professor van der Steed will introduce you to LSE, as well as the Summer School programme, and then I'll step in to share some more kind of practical details on the programme offering, as well as how to apply. After that, it's great that we've got two Summer School alumni, Elizabeth and Ria, joining us today. So they're going to be sharing some words on the student experience, and they'll be sticking around afterwards to help with the Q&A. So as well as the panelists, we're joined, of course, by all of you, and I can see the participants' numbers there, and it's really great that we've got so many people joining us today. Now, a hallmark of Summer School is that it's a really global programme, and it would be great to start things off for you guys to get a sense of where people come from in terms of their interest in Summer School. If you hover over the screen now, you'll see the chat function. If you could perhaps introduce yourselves in the chat, perhaps just drop your first name, which country you're from, and your university or your work organisation. As I say, it's a really great way for you to get that initial sense of how global a programme LSE Summer School is. So in total, we expect the presentation element of today to last around 40 minutes. So we will leave time at the end for questions and answers. So as I mentioned just now, we have two Summer School alumni helping out there as well to help you get a sense of the student experience. So a couple of practical details. We're recording this session, so we'll be able to make it available to you as a resource. And whilst we have the dedicated Q&A time at the end, we welcome questions throughout. So again, if you hover on the screen, you'll see in the Q&A, you'll see that there's a Q&A icon next to the chat bubble. So if you post your program related questions into that Q&A function as we go along, no need to wait until the end. My colleagues from the Summer School team, Ailish, Georgia and Lauren, will be in there helping out and answering as we go along. So that's all from me for now. I hope you really enjoy the session, that you get a really good sense of all the many opportunities on offer for you at Summer School. And I'm going to hand over now to Professor van der Steed.
Welcome. Really nice to see virtually you all, and clearly the chat rolling by, answering Rob's call to briefly say where you're from. And I think it has already proven the point that indeed you are from every corner of the globe. And that is very LSE. That's also what we are used to in our regular teaching programs. And I personally teach in several of our accounting courses at the LSE. So London School of Economics has the word economics, also of course political science, if we say the whole name of the social science institution that we are. But obviously, as you will also see on Summer School, we have accounting, we have finance, we have management, we have government, we have international relations and other such like courses. And these courses, they look at a variety of topics that will appeal to a combination of your interests and where you will get the real thing. And the real thing at the LSE is a social science-based teaching with a practical application. Now, the practical application for that, we don't have to look very far, because if you look through the view here in the back, those are the same trees that the lawyers see around the Lincoln's Inn and Temple area. A little bit further down, but not far, is the square mile, the city, so the financial services. And then in the other direction is Westminster, the political. And of course, London is a global city that doesn't require any evidence. Now, LSE is a top university in the global center that London is. And that also, you see several numbers here on this slide, can be confirmed in any of a number of ways. Now, I will not do this, but I will just give you a few factoids. One is the numbers will almost consistently show that we are indeed the most global university in the world. And not just concentrated from having lots of students from a given geography of the world. We truly have students, and you can see this in the chat, from everywhere in the world. And so that is, I think, a unique experience. Now, some of our students have also then go back to the places where they hailed from and moved on to many great things, earning sometimes a Nobel Prize along the way. Juan Manuel Santos, president of Colombia in 2016, won the Nobel Peace Prize, for example, for his role in ending the Colombian Civil War. We also have many famous students. I've seen some of you are from Germany, like May, for example, from Germany, I saw early on. Ursula von der Leyen, the current president of the EU Commission, also studied at the LSE. And of course, the example that we are oftentimes most reminded of is Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones. Unfortunately, he did actually not finish his degree, so technically we cannot count him as our alum. But he would always be very welcome to finish his course and join us as an alum. So that is, I could talk about the LSE for a very long time. I have been at the LSE for a very long time, and I hope that you will take the opportunity to also enjoy the vibe, if you'd like, on campus in London at this world-renowned university that we are. Now, in that, we also have a fantastic summer school. We were probably one of the first in the world to have a summer school, and from its humble beginnings, it's grown out to be a fantastic program. Just before the pandemic in 2019, we had, I hope, Rob, I've got the number more or less right, 9,000 students on our summer school. Even last year, when we had to work around pandemic restrictions and had a hybrid version of our summer school, we had 2,500 students. For 2022, with most travel restrictions gone and our hard-fought freedoms coming back post-pandemic, hopefully, fingers crossed, we hope to have you have the opportunity for the full in-person experience. Now, the summer school started in 1989, has grown to what I have just described, has also ever become more global, and we expect in 2022 that again be the case. You get expert teaching from expert faculty at the LSE, but also a experience outside of your course, outside of the classroom, in terms of social skills training, and also a active social program. And of course, the bonus of meeting classmates, again, from around the world, and having and establishing friendships that will go way beyond summer school. Then I think I want to conclude with a further bonus, if you'd like. We have thought hard about our courses. We keep our courses current and up to date and our selection refreshed. And we see three themes actually running through many of these courses that we wanted to highlight and emphasize. And you see these here on this slide. One is sustainability and development, responsible leadership, technology, media, and society. Now, those are broad themes, and of course, different courses have different angles and perspectives on these. But these are very contemporaneous issues. And so what we are doing is actually giving 3 scholarships in each theme. And these themes are somewhat also grouped by 12 courses that fit more or less in one theme better than the other. And if you get accepted on one of these courses and you write a statement of purpose, then you can enter the possibility of being selected for one of those scholarships, 9 in total. And that would give you the waiver of the tuition for that fee for that course. So that's a little extra that we offer. But nonetheless, as I said, the LSE in London as a global place, a world-renowned social science institute, where you will have the vibe and the experience fully in person. So we hope for 2022 again, is really what I wanted to spend a little bit time talking about. Rob, have I covered the basis?
Yes, fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, and Rob obviously will now go through a fair amount of detail. But thank you. It was really nice to meet you, and I hope I have the opportunity when you arrive to do proper in-person introductions. Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you again for that great introduction to the program and the university. So as Professor Van der Steed mentioned, I'm going to go on to give you a bit more kind of detail on the actual program offering and the 3 strands to it. But I'm going to start off with what's the most important element, of course, of the summer school program, and that's our students. You'll see on the slide there some statistics to give you a general sense of who comes to summer school, but it's very hard to capture in numbers just because of the sheer diversity of the program. Most students, the majority of students, are current undergraduates, so people perhaps join in for a study abroad experience to earn credit towards their home degree. But we're also really pleased that a lot of postgraduates, as well as working professionals, do join us. So it's a really broad application that the program has. It's a qualification that enhances a CV, as well as supporting someone's first degree. So that's great because it creates a really rich environment in the classroom. And we hear this from student feedback, that that's an element of the program experience they really appreciate, that opportunity to study alongside people with very different skills and perspectives. Now, a second part of that diversity is just the huge spread of nationalities we have represented. Professor Van der Steed mentioned in the introduction just how international a university LSE is, and you see that very much reflected over the summer period. So on our most recent summer school, despite the challenges with the wider context with COVID, we still saw 90 nationalities represented, with students joining us from over 500 universities globally. This includes attracting students really from all of the top universities across the world. You'll see on the right-hand side of the screen there a number of university names, of course, very distinguished universities where we've seen particularly large groups of students join us from. Now, summer school's curriculum and its teaching staff also reflect the international ethos of LSE. So nearly half of LSE's full-time teaching staff come from outside of the UK, and many of those will be teaching you on the summer school program. Now, on to the kind of practicalities of summer school 2022. So the program runs for 9 weeks across the summer, but that's split into 3 3-week sessions, and a student can take 1 course per 3-week session. So you could join us for 1 course, and that's what a lot of students choose to do. But also you could join us for 2 courses, which would be 6 weeks, or 3, which would be 9 weeks. And obviously a lot of students do choose that option because it's a great way to maximize their experience. Expanding to 3 sessions means as well that we can run a number of our most popular courses twice. So if you're someone that's already been on the course pages and you've seen one of the courses that runs in 2 separate sessions, it's the same course, same content, we just do it in different sessions to increase availability. Okay, so I'm going to start with the academic program. Now, summer school courses are based on typical LSE undergraduate courses, taught to the same high standards. So it's obviously a really great chance for you to experience the UK style of teaching and learning at what is one of the country's top universities. At LSE, that's about giving you skills and confidence to apply your learning to inform debates. Of course, expand your understanding of your subject area, but also really importantly, develop those skills that you can apply beyond the summer school classroom. So that's really a big focus of LSE in general, to have that kind of practical, real world impact with our teaching and our research. So we offer a range of courses, so around 80 courses available this summer across 7 subject areas. Now, those 7 subject areas actually represent over 15 academic departments at LSE. So we're rightly famous for economics. Because of the shorthand of our name, LSE, people often just associate us with economics, but actually summer school reflects LSE's strengths across the social sciences. So as well as economics, we're also ranked globally in the top 10 by QS for numerous other subject areas. So accounting and finance, business and management studies, geography, law, politics, all ranked globally in the world top 10. So as well as splitting courses into those 7 subject areas, they're divided across 3 levels, 100, 200 and 300 level. They broadly reflect the 3 years of undergraduate study in the UK. So a 100 level course, if you see a course with a code that begins with a 1, is introductory. A course beginning with 2 is 200 level, that's intermediate, and we have 300 level, which is equivalent to a final year undergraduate course or perhaps first year of a postgraduate course. So 300 level courses, in some subject areas, you'll see you'll get quite a lot of students studying on them that might be coming from that postgraduate background. So in particular, our research methods, data science and mathematics stream, often you'll see quite a few postgraduates represented on there. Now, it's important for me to highlight that you're not necessarily restricted by your current level. So if you are a final year student now, or a postgrad or working professional, there's no reason why you can't do a 100 level introductory course. Actually, it's a popular thing with summer school students. They come back and take the opportunity to study something outside of what they did as their main degree. Equally, if you are a first year student, it's very possible that you'll be eligible for a wide range of 200 and 300 level courses. I'll come back to that further when I discuss entry requirements on a later slide. On the screen now, you'll see a range of course titles across the different subject areas. Now, this is not the full list of courses. As I mentioned just now, we're offering around 80 this summer. So it's more really to give you a kind of flavor of the types of course that we offer. So I think you'll see there that you know, there really is that kind of real world practical focus to our courses. So popular with people because of the academic excellence of LSE, but often as well because people are starting to think ahead to their career. And I think probably you can recognize there from some of those course titles how these kind of courses can be great for someone who's starting to think about boosting their CV. So these courses will really vary in size. Some of our most popular courses will have well over 100 students on them. Some of them that are a little bit more niche will be smaller. The courses themselves, how they're structured and divided up, again, I'll come onto in a moment. So summer school courses, I mentioned you'll take one over a 3-week session. You can only take one because they're intensive. We're not shy about advertising that. It's important that people you know, come to us and expect that this is going to be an intensive academic experience, and it has to be to reflect the high standards of LSE and to make sure that you can study in 3 weeks what someone might normally cover over a full semester. So 54 hours of contact time. Teaching time will be split into 36 hours of lectures. That's when the whole class comes together to learn for that lecturer-led session, and then there will be 18 hours of seminars. So they're the kind of smaller tutorial style sessions that will be more smaller groups, typically 15 to 20 students, so more discussion focused. So you'll get that kind of varied learning experience, which really reflects typically how courses are structured in the UK. So you'll get the opportunity in those classes to apply your learning through participation and and discussion with global peers. So a typical day might be, if you're on a course with a morning lecture, you'd have your 3-hour lecture in the morning, small break in the middle, couple of hours off, and then in the afternoon you might have an hour and a half class. So 4.5 hours of teaching time. We would of course be advising people to keep up some independent study in the background. That will vary depending on you know what different students and how much time they need to be covering that independent work in the background. But let's say on an average day, you're looking at around 5-6 hours of work. So it's busy, but we always find that summer school students are very disciplined. They find that easy because they've got the motivation, of course, of keeping their evenings and their weekends free to really maximize their student experience in London outside of the classroom. Okay, so the courses themselves, they are assessed. Assessment is not made compulsory by LSE. We have students that come for the experience to boost their CV, but they might not actually technically need a grade, so don't want the stress of sitting the exams. So in that case, someone can take summer school on an attendance basis. So you'd get an attendance transcript and certificate, assuming you've attended enough classes. Now, a lot of people, of course, do want the grade. So we have formal assessments for almost all courses. There are 2 summative assessments, one halfway through the course, the mid-session exam, which takes place in week 2, and then you'll have a final exam on the final Friday. So those 2 graded pieces of work will go towards your final grade, and then you'll get that letter grade on your LSE Summer School transcript and certificate. Now, it's really important to highlight, if you're a university student and you are thinking about doing LSE Summer School with credit transfer in mind, it's vital that you speak to the relevant office, whether it's a study abroad office or a home department or your home academic department, to check their requirements in advance of attending. So we have universities worldwide, really strong universities, recognize our courses for credit, but it is ultimately their decision. So you just need to make sure that you check with them your plans to attend summer school and get that grade to transfer back to your home degree. Okay, so the classroom experience, of course, involves the physical experience of being inside the LSE buildings. Now, LSE has a relatively small but fantastic campus based very centrally in London. We're surrounded by very busy streets, very vibrant parts of the city. But what's really nice is it retains kind of a cut-off community feel. A lot of our streets are pedestrianised. We're all located on one site in central London, which is quite rare amongst London universities. So it's great because you'll have that sense of identity and community feel on the campus. LSE has also invested very heavily over the years to redevelop our campus. Those of you that know London well will know that in central London, there's just no space to build. So you have to be very creative in how you improve and replace what you already have on site. So you'll see on the screen there some of the newer buildings. So the student centre there, which houses things like gym, the LSE gym, cafes, pub and nightclub, the centre building in the bottom right, which opened in 2019, that houses a couple of academic departments, but also the LSE leadership team. It's really popular with students because it's got fantastic panoramic views of London through those big windows that you can see there. So students will often go and sit by those windows to do their private study. We've got a brilliant library. It's the UK's national library for the social sciences, and actually the largest in the world specialising in the social and political sciences. So a lot of fantastic modern facilities that sit and stand side by side with very old buildings. So we've got some buildings on the campus site that also date back to the 1500s. So it's a great mix of old and new, and really one that's very kind of reflective of London as a whole. That blend of history and modernity really kind of is captured on campus and across London. Now, Another integral part, as well as the academic experience, an integral part of summer school is the social program. And we hear this year after year when we send out our student surveys and collect feedback from students, how much summer school students do get from the social program. So we run a really wide range of events that are, of course, about helping you form new friendships, build global networks, and really experience many of the attractions that London and beyond has to offer. So this will involve a mixture of free and ticketed events. Sorry. There will be things running every day. So you've got some examples on the screen there. So you'll have walking tours through historic parts of London, trips to the world famous university towns, Oxford and Cambridge. We block book tickets at very popular West End theatre plays, and we have some parties which are hugely popular year after year, the boat cruise, which goes down the Thames, and the leaving party on the final Friday, which is your chance to say farewell. So really just some examples, but the social programme is a lot more extensive than you'll see on the screen there. We also run keynote lectures for summer school students. So LSE as a university has a really well-established history of offering public lectures by leading academics and policymakers, and we run our own mini bespoke version of that for summer school students. So that's about bringing in distinguished speakers to give you access to really expert and innovative thinking on pressing contemporary issues. And of course, the social program, as I mentioned, is about you being able to experience London, which is a brilliant cosmopolitan city. It's very often ranked, it has been for the last 2 years by QS World University Rankings, does an annual best city for students rating, and London has won it for the last 2 years. So it's a fantastic place to be a student, and LSE is a great location from which to go and explore the city. So you'll see on screen there the LSE Square, that's our campus in central London. So we are a short walk away from Covent Garden, which is a very vibrant area, very popular with tourists, with cafes, bars, shops, restaurants. I'm sure you recognize some of those other tourist attractions mentioned there. So from my office, I can see St. Paul's Cathedral, which is a really famous and beautiful old religious site. We have the Houses of Parliament around a mile away from us. So really, you know, it's a quick trip to go and see what are some really world famous tourist sites. A lot of it is walking distance. Some of it you'll be getting the tube, which is our underground train network, or the bus, and really you'll get used to navigating around London very quickly. It's very easy to use those public transport systems. You'll see on screen there 4 red dots with some red writing next to them. That's the four LSE halls of residence on offer to students this summer. I'll come back to accommodation in a little bit more detail shortly, but you'll see they're dotted around. Some are walking distance, some you'll need public transport, but all of them, relatively speaking, are very centrally located. The LSE campus itself is just too small to be able to house accommodation, so we have halls of residence dotted around different parts of central London. Okay, the third strand of the summer school program offering is our professional skills program. So we know, and of course it's something you will have heard many times, that in what is such a competitive job market now, recruiters are looking for graduates who have attended good universities, got good grades, but actually they're looking beyond that as well. So it's really important for you, whether you're a student or early in your career, to show that you're using your time to kind of maximize your university experience and take in opportunities to kind of broaden your skill set. So doing something like summer school, whether it's at LSE or wherever you study, is a great start on that. If you're someone that is, you know, flying over and having that international exposure, that says some really great things about you, that you're prepared to leave your comfort zone, that you're developing international networks. But at LSE, we have designed as well a wide range of practical sessions, which are really about helping you enhance your career readiness and take those first steps in kind of thinking about your career strategy. So that includes, as I say, around a range of different practical sessions. So things like building confidence with interview skills, learning how to create a quality CV that will make an impact on recruiters at top companies. We have sessions with more of a personal focus run by the LSE Wellbeing Service. So things like how to manage exam anxiety, as well as sessions that have got more of a kind of focus on practical transferable skills, things like how to code, how to build an app. So a really broad spectrum of events available on the professional skills program, and a great opportunity for you to complement what you're doing in the classroom as well as socially on our social program. Now, on to some practical details applying to summer school. So some of you here today may have already done it, and you're joining us today to find out more about the program. So that's great. For those of you that are still thinking about applying, applications are open. You apply via the online form on the summer school website. As it says on the screen there, just another reminder to make sure that you're having that conversation with your home university as well, if you're planning to do it with credit transfer in mind. The application process is designed to be quick and straightforward. We don't require you to write things like personal statements, to get reference letters. You're just joining us on a short course basis, so we don't need those things. So what you will need to do is upload an up-to-date academic transcript, and that should show that you meet the entry requirements for your chosen course. Now, in terms of grades, advertised on the screen there, 3.3 on a 4.0 scale, B+ if that's the classification format you use. Now, I know lots of you may not use GPAs or letter grades. If you have a look on Google, you'll get a sense of kind of grade conversions for the country that you're coming from. Now, those grades are there as a guideline. It does tend to be the case that assessors will show flexibility based on the strength of an application as a whole. So as an example, if you are performing particularly well in the subjects that are most relevant to the course that you're interested in at summer school, it's likely that that's going to be the kind of grades that they're more interested in focusing on when making that assessment. If you're applying for a 100 level course, for all of the courses other than 2 in economics, there are no prerequisites. So they're introductory level, so we don't need to see any kind of specific academic background for them. So that's actually one of the reasons they're popular with people who might be studying something outside of their main degree subject. Let's say it's an engineering student who's now thinking about a career in finance or business. They might come and do one of our business courses at 100 level to start developing their CV before going into the job market. If you're applying for a 200 or 300 level course, because they'll be drawing on content that someone should have covered at university, they do have prerequisites. So it's usually 1 or 2 prerequisites per course. To give a simple example, if you are applying for intermediate microeconomics, we would need to see that you've got a background in introductory microeconomics. So you can find details about that on each individual course page. So if you go onto those course pages, there will be a drop down on there which lists those prerequisites. And as I say, your academic transcript should show that you've either studied it and got the grade already, or that you're going to be studying it before you join us at summer school. And if it's that latter case, if you're going to be covering the prerequisite but you don't yet have a grade, it's typically the case that the assessor would then make you an offer of a place conditional on you passing that course. So you then have to contact us down the line once you've got the grade back. We also have English language requirements. I would advise, for the sake of not having too busy a slide, there's a fairly simple summary there for you, but I would definitely advise, if this applies to you, that you'll need to show evidence to go onto the summer school website, where you'll find in the how to apply section more detailed outline of requirements. In short, if you already study at university in English, or if at least one course has been taught in English, that doesn't include English language learning courses. So let's say you've done a course in international finance that was taught in English, you would meet our requirement. If you come from somewhere where you don't study your main degree in English, you haven't done any courses taught in English as part of your degree, you then would need to submit one of the language certificates that we accept. And as I say, you'll find more details about that on the How to Apply section of our website. And on screen there, you'll see the 2022 tuition fees. There's a £50 application fee for everyone. And then on the screen, you'll see two columns. On the middle column, the student rate, it applies to anyone in full-time university education. Anyone else, so if you're a working professional, for instance, you would qualify for the standard rate there. So you'll see that the rates start to become heavily discounted if you take 2 or more sessions. So again, this information, all of this information is of course available on the summer school website. I mentioned accommodation earlier. There's 4 options available for you as a summer school student. It's a very popular choice. It's a great chance to live alongside people on the program, and often it's a good way for students to meet people beyond their course. And it offers relatively central location. It's some of London's most centrally located student accommodation, and it has a really wide range of room choices as well. So really room choices to suit different budgets. So again, on the summer school website, there's extensive information on those accommodation options and the different prices. So visit the summer school website for further details. Now, I mentioned that it's popular. It's not compulsory. So as a result, it's an additional fee. It's not included in the tuition fee. Many people know people in London or might already live in London, so they don't need the accommodation, but it's offered to students if they want it. Now, with accommodation and actually with course places, all of these things fill on a first come, first serve basis. So we don't advertise strict deadlines for applying to the course or for accommodation. But we'd always recommend that you apply as soon as you can, because that way you're going to be kind of best guarantee availability on your first choice of course, as well as with accommodation. Okay, summer school is as we've mentioned, a really large program, and it means we've got a large program team who are here to support you really throughout the whole journey, from initially reaching out to us if you're interested in applying and you want to get some further details, right through the application process, the program itself, and then to issuing post-program documentation. So that includes having a office with an open door policy during the summer, so students can come and drop in Monday to Friday if you've got any teething issues with getting settled in, or if just generally you want some advice on London and making the most of your time here, we've got a team of program staff who are really happy to help. As well as the direct summer school team, you have support available if needed from LSE Wellbeing Service. We've got the IT help desk, and of course the support that you get from your academic teaching staff. So really kind of comprehensive level of support that you'll get during your time with us on the program. Okay, that is the kind of broad introduction to summer school. So a lot of information to come across to you in just under 40 minutes. I'm going to hand over now to our 2 alumni who are with us today, really to share some words on the student experience. I think it's always really valuable for people to hear what it's like to be a student. So they're just going to share a few words now, but also stick around for a little while during the question and answer session afterwards, just in case you have any more questions. I think if we start with Elizabeth, if you're able to come on screen now and share some words.
Yes, I don't know, can you see me?
Yes, we can, and hear you.
Perfect, perfect, very good. So hi everyone, I'm Elizabeth, and I actually participated in 3 different sessions last year. So last year was also the hybrid session where we were able to come to campus, but also some of the students decided to work from, sorry, not work, study from home. So for example, self-isolation reasons or for anything else. So I'm very happy that this year people are actually able to come on campus, because I think it's a very amazing experience to actually be able to stay in LSE and see the library, see the classrooms, and just have this physical contact with other students. This is also something I really gained from the experience. I made some amazing friends, and I made some really, really nice contacts. So I actually took marketing from my first session. Then the second session, I studied consumer behavior. And for the third one, I did strategic management. So although they were all linked to the business and management courses, they were still relatively different. And they didn't have a lot of overlap. So I was very, very happy that I took all 3 of them. So I think in terms of the educational style, LSE is quite difficult. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't super easy 3 weeks. It was quite a lot of work. It was a lot of readings, a lot of case studies, but they were extremely valuable, as I actually took some weeks off because I was working at the time last year, and I took some time off work to do these courses. So it was extremely valuable for me to actually go back and apply them in my work. I was working as a behavior research analyst, and now I work in CRM, so customer relationship management. And all those courses were very valuable for my current work. So I think I've talked a lot now, so I don't know if anyone has any questions or anything specific, then I'm very happy to answer these.
Great, thanks, Elizabeth. we jump over to the questions after in a short while.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm sure people will. Thank you very much, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
If I hand over now to Ria.
Hi, yeah, my name's Ria. I'm actually from the US, and I took actually 1 course. I know Elizabeth took 3 courses last year. I only took 1 course last year, but the experience was just as amazing and just as perfect. So if you can only attend 1 course, I strongly encourage you to do so. I chose LSE specifically because the summer school and everything I've heard from it was really positive. I know I've never been to London before then, and I went in alone because of COVID guidelines. No one could come with me, so completely going in blind was definitely an experience, but it's something that I recommend to everybody because it was just a fantastic way to meet people and get a really good broad perspective on issues and on topics that you wouldn't get in any other place. I took the negotiations and communications course. I don't know if that, I'm pretty sure that is offered this summer as well. And I strongly recommend it because that class revolves all around communicating with people and understanding what they're saying and negotiating their terms. So that personally was a great experience for me. In terms of going to London, I do recommend not being afraid when you go to London, or if you go to London, don't be afraid to apply, don't be afraid to accept, don't be afraid to join the WhatsApp groups. That's a huge thing. Join the WhatsApp groups, don't be afraid to meet people. Everyone is there for the same purpose as you, to see people, to meet people, and to have a good London experience. So truly, it is a seize the moment sort of opportunity while you're in London. There's nothing really planned out in sort of social wise or anything. But yeah, I've met some of my greatest friends from there, all global. One, it's a little group, one from Italy, one from Moscow, and one from Brazil. So as you can see, wide range of people. but I wouldn't have it any other way. And I also had the hybrid option, but I think going in person is possibly the best experience you can have. So I strongly encourage you to, if you have not applied, apply. It was the best decision I've made.
Thank you again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your days.